Kill me or release me, parasite, but do not waste my time with talk. It's a little thing from Halo 2 for you. Let's think about that today. And the topic for today is analysis paralysis. Now, I want to focus on the last part of what the Arbiter said to the grave mind in that little sentence right there, right? Don't waste my time with talk. And I have been relating that a lot to my own thoughts because a lot of my own thoughts are all talk and nothing else. No action. That's it. And like I've been saying with these types of videos, like I want them to definitely be applicable to CS related stuff, working on projects, whatnot, studying what you need to study and everything, right? But it can still be applied to anything else for the most part as well. It just is coming from a mostly computer science perspective here, right? So analysis paralysis, right? One of my fucking demons, for real. It's when you have so many options available to you for a certain thing that you get paralyzed by it, and then you end up taking none of the options and doing fucking nothing. Nothing maxing, as some would say. I would say this. But the best way to beat this thing is to just do something, to pick something and do it. And I've been really trying to just erase that habit from myself where I just see so many choices and end up just not fucking doing anything anyway, because that shit is bad. You need to be doing shit, right? So what I'm thinking is to just, for example, for the projects, right? Before I get into this, I'll give a little bit of an update. I've been doing some studying on my own. I did a little bit on stream yesterday, but for the most part, I'm doing most of this on my own because the resources I've been given, I can't exactly stream them, right? Because it would, I might get in trouble for leaking stuff because, most of it's paid. But, I've just been, going through and refreshing my memory, especially on stuff like C++ with learncpp.com. I think it's .com, I think. And then Pluralsight as well. Shout out to fucking CJ the GOAT. Thank you again, my friend. I appreciate you. And then on top of that, just reanalyzing my resume and figuring out, better ways I could add things in there, right? So analysis paralysis. So many things, and then you end up doing nothing, right? The best way to beat this is, in my opinion, to get a set list of a few of these many options and pick and start and move on whenever you're done, right? So this is my new goal, right? I am going to find myself 3 projects to work on and then get those done. Just get those in order and get them fucking done, right? What I've been trying to do is I've been trying to find this one project that I did when I was a junior and just go back and reanalyze it and go over everything again because I think it would be super, super good to do. Just because we used a lot of, it was, I think it was for 3 phases, right? We had, I think it was a tokenizer, and then, oh man, what was next? It was like the next step up from that. And then finally we ended with, a Conway's Game of Life, with multi-threading involved in it. And that project, I would say, was when I was really like, oh, there's levels to the CS stuff. While at the same time being like, this shit is so fucking cool. I don't care that I'm spending 7 hours a day, like every single day working on this because I'm getting somewhere. Even though it felt like at first I wasn't, because I was still trying to figure everything out. I eventually did get to a place where I was making progress and actually able to develop this type of stuff. And I really, really want to find that project. Because I think it would be super, super good to go over on stream or just in general for me, just to re-educate myself on a lot of these topics that I should be knowing if I want to start making stuff. So what do I want to make? Well, I'm thinking as soon as I find this project, I'll be able to, either make that better as a start or get some ideas from it. But as far as ideas go, I don't have any typed up lists, right? I don't have that right now. I'm still getting that done. But I'm thinking maybe like at least number 3, end with like maybe like a little compiler or something just to get myself back into it. That may be a lot and I may not end up doing that. But I mean, I'm definitely interested in doing it. I think that would be a pretty fun thing to work on stream, just stuff like that, right? But, it's just really about figuring out everything to go from here. I think like the first project, I want to be something that would like just refamiliarize myself with, the proper structure and not even syntax, because I think I'm okay with the syntax once I'll get back into it, right? But I'm thinking just to refamiliarize myself with like the workflow, like the debugging process, specifically in C++ with this, right? In Python, I think I'll have a lot easier of a time. Like for projects in Python, I'm thinking like, first off, I want to make like a Twitch bot for my chat just to, have like an easy little project, and that's something that I'm going to be able to use. And then somebody on stream yesterday had said that they had made a YouTube video downloader, which I think is another awesome idea, which I think that's going to be number one and number two for the Python projects. And then for number three on the Python, we'll still figure it out. But as long as I got something to work on in the process, we'll be all right. But yeah, I think okay, so here's why I can't find this project, by the way. This was in the times when I was stupid and I didn't upload anything to GitHub because I didn't know no better, right? I was a junior, which isn't an excuse. I'm just, giving some time frame here, right? I didn't put none of that stuff on GitHub, and it's all on my laptop, right? Except for the fact that I'm technically dual booting on my laptop between Arch and Windows, even though I never use the Windows no more. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to boot back into Windows and see if I can figure out how to get these files on my hands again, because I really, really want to have them, because it would be super cool to, go over and be like, oh, that's what I did there, right? But yeah, I think in terms of C++, actually, I'm getting more and more interested in like the game dev adjacent type of stuff, like graphics related stuff. I've heard a lot of good things about that, and it seems super interesting to me. It'd be a super, cool little low level thing I could get into, right? So maybe I'll just start doing that and just trying to get some ideas for there. But the whole point of this video, right, is analysis paralysis is a real demon. It is. So you have to, in order to not be paralyzed, you have to keep moving, right? That's just the nature of the word. You have to keep moving. You have to have next steps, and you have to have these next steps in order that you are like, boom, 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 checking off the list. All right, let's go. Boom. We're ready. And like I had said in the beginning, I want to structure these videos, mostly, with a CS perspective, because like that's, who I am, and that's what I'm doing. But I want to make it so it can be applied to anything, and I'm just sitting here talking some nonsense about, whatever I'm talking about. And, hopefully it helps somebody not make the same mistakes that I do. Really, that's what this is all about. But, like I said, I've got my two lanes, I got my C++ lane and I got my Python lane. My Python lane, I'm going to be much better at, one, because it's easier, and two, I've been using it more. But with the C++, it's an exciting little adventure because I get to get back into doing the low-level stuff that I think is interesting and then working my way up. And there's always, always, always more to learn. You're always able to go deeper. You're always able to do more things with it, everything like that. But that's going to kind of do it for that little section, you know what I mean? But like I said, the best way to beat analysis paralysis is to just keep moving, have your next steps, and do your next steps in an order. Have the order, have everything that you need to do in the near future planned out, and then you won't be paralyzed by the amount of options, right? So, that's going to kind of do it for this one. I just want to end by saying, I'm going to still be going live every day. I did want to mention that for content, I'm gonna mostly be doing like 90% is gonna be like CS related stuff, where I'm gonna be live on both Twitch and YouTube doing that. And then for whenever I decide to play a game, I'm probably just gonna keep that over on the Twitch, just because like I feel like, over there, that's what I've always done, right? I've just always done games over there. And a lot of people in my YouTube are wanting to watch, the CS stuff. So, I'm just going to, keep the two separate and just kind of go from there, really. But yeah, I'm planning on going live again today. If you see this, I'll be live probably in about an hour, 40 minutes from now, something like that. That's what I'm thinking. But yeah. that's gonna do it for this one. Like I said, be sure to check out the stream if you're interested. I'm gonna be studying and then also on my progress or working on my progress to keep building stuff. Or no, I don't even say keep building stuff, to build stuff, because I'm still, I was analysis paralysis for so long, right? That's the whole point of this video, and I'm just really gonna keep doing my best to get to the point to where I'm just actively building stuff all the time, and I don't even have to think about it no more. I'm just like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do today, right? So I'm thinking about getting started on that today. Probably gonna go with the Python side of things first. Just get started building, like a little Twitch bot or something silly like that, right? And then maybe a little game after, on the Twitch side. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Let me know if you have any project suggestions you feel like would be cool for me. I would love to hear it. We have a Discord. We got a bunch of people joining up now that are posting their super cool projects, and it's super inspirational to see that everybody is still working on super cool stuff. And you remember, the goal here is no matter what, make cool stuff. That's it. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I'll see y'all in 2 days. By the way, new YouTube schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. That's what we're doing. Thank you again. Bye.